Week 2 of the Trench Report is in the book, CB, and the grades are in. And the starting O-line as a whole, I thought played pretty well. We needed to do a little bit better in the run game. I think that was a combination of Jalen and Rico being a little rusty and not being on the same timing as the O-line, because there were some blocks there that were being held. And if Jalen had been a little bit more patient, there would have been more hay to be had in the run game. But all in all, I thought the O-line did better than what we thought initially. The second O-line, not so much. Drew Aller did not have a lot of time, and there was a lot of pressure. But starting from left to right, I had Troy at an 87. He came back and was the left tackle that we all know he's going to become. He was solid, great hands, didn't do the whole trap that he tried to do a million times last week for whatever reason. When I say trap, that's when a defensive lineman comes at an O-lineman, the O-lineman knocks their hands down. Troy tried to do that a whole bunch last week and got him in trouble because they saw it coming. And so he didn't do that as much this week. Relied on his punch, which was great, knocking the defensive ends off track and making them have to go to their secondary pass rush move. And that's always a win for the offensive lineman when the defensive lineman has to do that. So Troy played well. Mason and Zach both played well. Solid. It's good to see that the switch from right guard to left guard has not affected Mason that much. He is playing a tad bit too high for my liking, though, CB. When you are out there watching the game next time, when you call the game this Thursday, you'll see when he's in a 2-point stance, he's like standing all 6'4", and I don't know why he's doing that. I want to know if coach is going to get him to bend those knees a little bit more, because he's losing natural leverage when he does that. But that's my only complaint. Otherwise, he's being physical. I need some more of that Mason energy. Remember, he was my spirit animal last year with all that energy he was doing, with all the antics he was doing after he would pancake somebody. So I need some more of that. I think as he gets more used to playing left guard, we'll see more of that come out. Zach was his normal solid self. We got a winner in Zach Frazier. We got our center for the next 10 years. So we don't have to worry about that position for a while. Good to see Spencer Anderson at right guard. I think he has solidified his spot as the starting right guard for this team, mainly because you don't hear his number. You don't hear his name being called. That means he is doing his job. When you don't hear your number being called or your name being mentioned on TV, you haven't had to say his name, have you, CB?
No, not at
Right.
all.
You haven't had to say his name, and that's a good thing. And so Spence, I think, has that right guard job locked up, and that's good to see. I'm rooting for him. I think he's going to have a really good year. Right tackle, that's going to be a little bit of an issue, CB. Now, Dylan did play better this week, Dylan Cook. Played better, but by no means, CB, does he give me confidence that he is the starter for the Steelers. Um, I have not seen Max Yanachor play. He has not practiced since August 6th. Hopefully he comes back this week. Not sure if he's practicing. You haven't heard anything one way or the other, CB?
I have not, and it
Okay.
doesn't look like he may play in this game. So it's
Mm.
going to be tough from an evaluation standpoint. That's for sure.
I will say this. If he comes back and plays, I think he still has a shot to start. That's
Really?
how iffy Dylan has been. Now, it was a better performance than last week. He still looks a little bit too soft, and not as physical as he was on the left side. And so hopefully that just comes with more reps. Um, he is definitely by far playing better than Broderick, and we'll get to him in a second. But
Stay right there, Trey. I want to ask you this question:
okay.
if, as the veteran guy, and put yourself into Dylan Cook's shoes at this particular point, as a veteran guy and a young guy misses two and some change weeks of
Mm-hmm.
practice, and they come back and try to insert him into the lineup, how would you feel?
I would feel some type of way. I mean, but he knows the writing is on the wall anyway. Now, he has played every single snap of practice, and he has played in the games when he's been put in. And so Dylan Cook should feel kind of salty if they bring Max Yanachor in and insert him into the starting lineup. Um, but let me throw this at you too, CB. Broderick Jones is playing so bad right now that I don't know if he's going to make the team. It's gotten to the point now. He graded out at I think 68%. if I'm not mistaken. It's gotten to the point where I don't know if he's going to make the team. Um, he is doing some of the same things he was doing as a rookie, and this is year 4 for him,
Yeah.
and he gave up a sack in the first drive because you could tell the coaches wanted to give him the opportunity to compete for the starting job. He was in that second drive with the starting O line and promptly gives up a sack to the Jets' first round draft pick David Bailey, and then proceeds to give up 2 more sacks later in the game. He's not being physical. The punch is not there, and if I'm the coaching staff and I have a 42-year-old starting at quarterback, I'm thinking, who gives me the best chance to give him the best protection at the right side? I think that's Max Yanachor. But also, if one of those guys get hurt, who has the capability of playing left and right tackle? And the only person who does that is Dylan Cook. And so not only does Max Yanachor have a chance to start because he might be the better right tackle, but he can't play left tackle, and we need a swing tackle on game day. And so that gives Dylan Cook the edge as far as that is concerned, because I don't think they have any faith from the way that he's performed in Broderick Jones to be the swing tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't want him protecting Aaron Rodgers' blind side. And it's sad because I thought he was improving so much at the end of last year and didn't look horrible last week. Actually played pretty good in the first preseason game. But this film that he put on this week was not good, CB.
It was tough at times to watch. And yeah, at this particular point, you're running out of options, because if you don't feel that right now you have somebody currently and you're waiting on the guy who is injured to step in, that lets you know that potentially they're going to be looking at the waiver wire to see what they can acquire to bring in here to potentially be that swing tackle, or maybe just give you more depth at that position. So it could, again, this is going to be a big game for him to determine what his career looks like, whether that's here in Pittsburgh or it's going to be elsewhere.
Right. But overall, first O-line did good. Second O-line, not so well. I will say that Ryan McCullum and Brock Hoffman, they're competing to be that first guy off the bench in the interior, and they both are playing well. I think they graded out at 81 and 82% respectively. Ryan was the backup last year. I think he's been a solid center to solid backup to Zach since he's been in Pittsburgh. But Brock Hoffman has the coach's faith and confidence because he played obviously with them in Dallas when Coach McCarthy was there as well, and he's doing well in this system as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think the O-line is starting to form itself. As you see right there, Jack Driscoll did not have a good game as well. Broderick grade 68. These are the grades overall. Starting O-line, the threshold is 80%. And so they were 80 or better, the whole starting O-line. So that gives you a good snapshot of their performances this past week, CB.
It's a fair assessment. And the thing that's concerning me is the fact that all the backups, that are struggling to reach that 80, or at least 3 of the other 5 are struggling to reach that 80% threshold that you're having there. So when you look at it, is this the biggest group that you have a concern about? Mine with the secondary, that was number 1. Offensive line is number 2. But I wait for you to give your answer as it relates to why I think their second group as a concern. Is this the number 1 for you?
Yeah, well, the health of Max Yanachor is big. I think they want him to start. He was playing really well, but he hasn't suited up since they've had pads on, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, you talk about Max?
Yeah, Max Yanachor.
It was like, for a couple of days, 1 or 2 days. I think he was only there for 1 or 2 days. Yes.
Okay. It is my biggest concern because if he's hurt, he's taking up a spot no matter what. And whether the coaches keep 9 or 10 is the big question. I don't know if we have 9 or 10 starting capable O-linemen. We have 5. No, we have 6. Jennings Dunker also didn't play this week. That's another one that we left out. He was hurt as well. He's somebody else that's going to take a roster spot. But he needs reps. Right now, I can't see him getting a helmet on game day. He will be one of the linemen that makes the 53 but does not dress as it stands right now. And so this game against Buffalo is huge for him as well.
No, I agree. And the reason why this is my number 2, and it's very similar to why I picked the secondary. You don't know the rotations as it relates to what's going to happen in the secondary. But when I look at this offensive line, the thing that concerns me is the fact that you're 2 weeks away essentially from your first game, and you have not named your starting right side of the line, or really your starting group. And that's a challenge when you continue to rotate those guys on the right side, because you want, as the closer you get, you want your starting five to now start practicing together, because you need that nonverbal communication, understanding what you're thinking before you actually do it. And that's something that, if you want to become a better run team, those guys have to stay, and you have to identify who those guys are, and those guys have to stay healthy. And right
Right.
now, you just don't have it if you want to continue to be great. So again, that's just something, and the reason why they're my second group of concern, because 2 weeks as we talk, you still don't know who your starting five is.
Very valid concerns. Stop and go coming up next. Best crossing guard in Western PA's history.